morning and welcome to our DMAC Ask a Professional Sports Marketing event. Thank you all for being here. We are excited to have Allie Brown with us today. And our hope really with these events are that they're linking your education and your career interests with professionals right here in Central Iowa. But before we get started today, I just want to say a quick hello as your host. My name is Jill Hoyk. I work a part of the work-based learning team here at DMAC, and I'm accompanied by my colleague, Amy Stainhook. And so again, thank you all for tuning in today. I would just also like to mention that we do have a marketing degree at DMAC. It is an Associate of Applied Science degree. We also have certificates that lead up into there as well. And then if you want to transfer onto a four-year college or university, we have options for that too. So Amy will leave some more information in regards to our marketing programs in the chat too as well. But without further ado, I want to get to our professional today. Like I mentioned, we have Allie Brown. She serves as the Vice President of Operations for the Iowa Wild professional ice hockey team. And so thank you, Allie, for joining us today. I truly appreciate it. And we want to make sure that all of you are getting your questions answered too. So if you do have any, please leave them in the chat for Allie because she would love to answer them for you. But I will go ahead and get started. Again, Allie, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And thanks for the introduction, Jill and Amy. Thank you. Really excited to be here, talk a little bit about marketing in the sports world and answer as many questions as you might have. But like Jill said, Allie Brown, the Vice President of Business Operations for the Iowa Wild. I have been with the organization, the Iowa Wild, since 2013. That is when the team came to town in Des Moines, and I started as an office manager with the Iowa Wild, and little by little kind of grew every single year. And now I am the vice president. So it's been a lot of fun to grow the organization from the bottom up, and I'm really proud of what we've done here, and excited to continue that in the new role. A little bit more about my background. I was raised in Iowa on a farm in Northwest Iowa. After graduating high school, I went to the University of Iowa, and I majored in marketing and minored in Spanish. After graduating from Iowa, I came to Des Moines, I should say, and started working with Register Media in the Gannett. So that's Des Moines Register. They own the Des Moines Register. And so what I did right away was worked in advertising, as well as doing like advertising buying. And I oversaw 11 markets in the Midwest and helped them buy advertising for Register Media and for the Gannett properties. So I learned a lot about advertising in my time there. And then after meeting someone at Register Media who was a huge hockey fan, and he got a heads up that there was a team coming to town for hockey, he connected me with the president of the team, and the rest is history. I've been with the Wild ever since. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Allie, so when you chose marketing as your major, I mean, how did you choose that? Was it something that you already knew, like going into high school? Is it something you just picked off a list, or how did you come to that decision?
Yeah, I think it was probably a year or two into college, actually, when I chose marketing, and I selected that as my path. A little bit about it was just that it was business oriented, but it's also hits on the creativity. And I really loved the fact that those kind of meshed together. I didn't know I wanted to do sports marketing at the time, but I knew that I loved the business aspect, and I loved the creativity that marketing brought to that. Marketing is, at first I thought, I don't want to do sales. I wouldn't be very good. I thought I was introverted and I just wouldn't be good at selling, but marketing is selling. And, as I've grown professionally, I've learned that I am a salesperson. I love, again, the fact that marketing brings some of that creativity into it. So.
Absolutely. And I think that you did a good job hitting on this a little bit already, but for those students in the room that are thinking about a marketing degree, what sort of soft skills or personality traits do you find that are best suited for students wanting to go into marketing? What are some skills that you think students should have?
And this might not necessarily just be for marketing, but I really think that a willingness to learn and grow is huge. Marketing, I guess, more tailored into marketing, it's changing on a daily basis. There's new technologies coming out all the time, and you need to stay on top of those. I think learning about numbers and analytics, that is very important for marketing and marketers to really showcase the return on investment. So if you're spending money on a certain ad, that you can then show the return on that investment. So learning a little bit about the analytics, and in school, I wouldn't say math was my passion, but it is very important when you are looking at numbers and looking at just what, figuring out the spend of your advertising dollars, making sure that's coming back for us in ticket sales. I would say, on top of the willingness to learn and grow, I would also say a passion for it. If you don't have a passion for what you're doing or for marketing, you're not going to love it, and it'll show. So to be passionate about it is a pretty big piece of the puzzle. And then I would also say that, going back to the selling piece of it, I think some people go into marketing thinking, I want to do marketing because I don't want to sell. But that is what marketing is. It's just selling in a different way, and using different resources to sell your product.
Yeah, no, thank you for saying that. I think too, marketing, pretty much every business has some sort of marketing component to it, right? And so I think when you're going into marketing, you have to believe in the product that you're marketing for, right? So, and knowing your customers and that type of thing. So, so many different facets to that. Can you describe what a typical day is like for you? And you'll probably laugh when I say that, because what day really is the same, but just kind of what walk through a typical day in your shoes is.
Yeah. So right now, in my current position, I have quite a few meetings right now just to make sure that we are all set for the season opening. A lot of the times my meetings are with staff too. I manage, right now we have, I think, just around 29 full-time folks. So just making sure that we have the support, the staff has the support they need, they have the resources they need. I have an open door policy. So, people pop in, ask questions all the time. So a lot of it is really working with staff, encouraging staff growth, making sure they're set for the upcoming games. But it's, we have weekly meetings, we have department meetings. We work a lot with the arena. So it's a lot of just game preparation. I would say during the off season, it's a lot more of brainstorming and having more time to kind of recap the season, work on budgets, and then look forward to the next season in terms of, brainstorming and coming up with promotions and things like that.
Yeah. What are some of those staff titles that you mentioned? Like what are some positions within the company that you hire for? And then like a little bit about what they do. I know there's probably a lot, but just touch on
a couple. So we have 3 departments. We have our ticket sales department, we have our sponsorship partnership department, and then we have the fan development department, which incorporates marketing communications. And so I'll touch on some more of the marketing positions, but we have a communications role. And so his role is to reach out to all the media partners in town, the TV stations, the radio stations, and work with the sports directors to try to get coverage of our games, of our product. So that way, when you're watching the morning news or the nightly news, that there would be coverage of the Iowa Wild. So that is part of his role. And then he also creates content and writes stories about players or about different human interest stories from our team, for our website or for news stations as well. We have a graphic designer, we have a videographer who create our obviously our graphics, and then our video content, which can be sent to news stations as well, but mainly lives on in-game through our video board or through social. And then we have our marketing director, who oversees kind of all of the staff in terms of our email marketing and our social media and our game operations and our community relations. So he oversees that staff directly, and then also works to make sure that our promotions are running smooth for our games, that we are out in the community as well. That's a big part of the Iowa Wild brand, is to make sure that from a grassroots standpoint and from a community partner standpoint, that we are engaging with our community partners and we're helping our nonprofits and really being ingrained in the Des Moines community. So those are, and then I would say we also have a social media manager and then an email website manager. So email marketing is very big for us. It's how we communicate with a lot of our fans, how we sell our tickets, to a more a larger database, I should say, and then social media as well. Basically also covering the team and their play, but also helping with pushing tickets out.
Awesome. We had a question in the chat. Can you describe or walk us through one of your marketing campaigns? Is it mostly web-based, print, video? Probably all of them, I'm assuming. What are specific things you do to market the Iowa Wild?
Yeah, so if I were to think of, we'll just say our general marketing campaign for the season right now, that is going on. It's kind of casted at a larger base. We're just trying to make sure people are aware that our season is back. That opening night is starting on the 22nd for us as our home opener. So it encompasses our traditional advertising. So we work with radio partners here in Des Moines. We work with TV partners and have TV ads going out. We have billboards out around town as well. And then we also have Skywalk advertising. And then on top of that, we have the digital marketing aspects. So there's our social media ads. There are ads that are retargeted ads, which are very neat and probably get the most bang for our buck in terms of return on investment. So we will put digital ads out that will then track, like if you came to our website and our ticket page, we have a pixel that tracks you. And then if you go to ESPN, you might see an Iowa Wild ad. So we do a lot of work on retargeted ads. And then on top of that, like email marketing again is huge. We have both automated campaigns. One big one is cart abandonment, and I'm sure almost everybody, if you have an email and you've done online shopping, you might have received one of these. But if you go buy a pair, or you go put a pair of shoes in your cart online and you don't buy them, you might get an email saying, hey, did you forget something? So that is a big piece of our campaign too, especially with tickets. If they put tickets in their cart and they didn't buy right away, they'll get an email follow-up saying, hey, what's stopping you? And a picture of our goalie. So it's kind of a wide range of advertising pieces, but there's a reason behind each one, and we can track a lot of the return on those too.
Yeah, very strategic. That's the whole point. We have another question. What are there internships for high school students or job shadowing opportunities that the Iowa Wild provides?
Yes, we have internship programs, as well as we do a lot of shadowing as well. So you could feel free to reach out to me if you are interested in any of those opportunities. But we have kind of two internship programs. One is on the sales side, and they work with on game nights. The interns might work in office hours as well, but it's really growing and learning what it's like to sell tickets, learning some of that training behind it and the reasons, kind of setting you up for success, but learning kind of the ins and outs of it. And then there's another one on the fan development side. So we have both game night staff, and then we have some in-office staff as well who come in, and we're pretty open. We work with people's schedules. So it kind of depends on, obviously everybody has a different schedule, whether we're working with a high school student or a college student. We know schedules can be crazy, so we can tailor schedules from that. But on the game night staff, it's a lot of working behind the scenes of the operations of what it's like to host a game. And then there's also some marketing pieces and also community events. So a lot of more of the event planning and setup and interacting with fans in that way too. And then the shadowing, we love to do that. We are always looking for more people in the sports industry. So it's really just reaching out and seeing if there's a role that you'd like to shadow, and if it's on a game night, if that works best, or if it's more in office hours. Our staff is really open and great with kind of teaching. So
that's awesome. Another question, what types of degrees do your team members have, or what are some of the requirements for, I know, again, there's lots of different titles and such too, but on the marketing side, what do you look for as far as credentials?
Yeah, it depends on each individual position. I think it's good to have a business or marketing degree, just to have that base of base understanding of what marketing is, or what it takes to run a business organization. So I think that's something we look for on individual positions themselves. If it's, I think on the marketing front, marketing has just grown so much since I've been to school, especially on the digital standpoint. So, somebody with graphic knowledge is really attractive to me. Somebody with analytic knowledge is fantastic to see on that resume. And then I'd also say coding and HTML knowledge. So like building websites, building emails. There's a lot of that nitty gritty, like the coding is so huge right now. We could send out an email, and if it's not coded right, if that little chunk of code is not correct, then it might not show up accurately in Gmail, but it might in Office. So there's so many different pieces. And I think looking at resumes and looking at, kind of the experience that somebody's had, we look a lot for those pieces when it comes to marketing in particular.
Absolutely. What would you say is one of the most challenging things about your position? Maybe you kind of touched on it as the ever changing of everything, which also could maybe be a positive thing about your job too. But what do you find are your biggest challenges in sports marketing?
Yeah, I would say in sports marketing, I would say that the challenges, and right now, like obviously COVID has been a challenge for us. Staffing is a challenge for us, making sure we have the amount of staff. I think we do a good job here at the Iowa Wild really developing our staff, and it leads to other opportunities for staff. So just the past couple months, we've had a couple staff members go to the St. Louis Blues, to the Seattle Kraken, to the Minnesota Wild. And so one of the challenges bringing new people in and making sure they're up to speed in time for our season to start. So I think that's, for us is a big challenge. But if I look at sports marketing as a whole, it's really keeping up with what's that next best thing that's going to help either expand our brand in the state of Iowa or sell tickets. And I think that's where we really come together as a group in our organization and brainstorm and follow not only other sports organizations, but also follow just other brands that we know do a really good job. Like Wendy's is a brand that I follow. I think there's a gas station, I don't know if it's Come and Go or Quick Trip or both of them here in town that are a fun brand to follow. So there's just, it's learning and continuing to just always grow and not stay stagnant. I think that's a challenge, but it's also very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. So another question for you, if you could start all over again, would you change your career path in any way or not?
I don't know that I would change it. I would have loved to take more courses. Like I said, talking about more of the technical, I wish I would know more about Photoshop and InDesign. And I think that is so helpful in many different ways. Learning to shoot video or to edit video, I think would be very helpful. Even just like a base knowledge of that not only helps from like just the technical standpoint, but as a manager, I love to be able to know what it's taking other staff like to do a project and have that ability to say I know exactly what you need to get your job done. And so I think from the management standpoint it's helpful too. But coding, HTML knowledge, I would love to have more experience with those and to have taken courses in that. I think it's very helpful on a marketing standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. I realized we had a question in the chat that I accidentally skipped over. Would you like to move into a bigger market with an NHL team?
Nope. I absolutely love working for the Iowa Wild. I love I think that's something that a lot of staff come into the Iowa Wild and their end goal is to be in the NHL, and that is fantastic and it's great, and we want to help them develop into that next role. For me myself, I love working in the AHL. I think there's a lot more flexibility. There's a lot more ability to expand not only and the reason why I am where I'm at right now is because I've had the ability to cross not only over to sales and sponsorship, but learn more about the entire business. And in an NHL team, I feel like you're a little more funneled into, this would be a role. There's a lot more staff. and I really love Des Moines market too, is another thing. I was born in Colorado, but raised in Iowa and have been here ever since. And I love the community. I love how just supportive the Des Moines community is. And I love growing the sport of hockey here. I think it's a really good challenge and it's a lot of fun, and we've seen success. So I wouldn't go anywhere bigger.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're happy that you want to be here. I just want to wrap up here, just to be respectful of your time, Allie. So again, if any participants have any last questions for her, please leave them in the chat. But one I want to kind of end on, Allie, is and maybe, you kind of mentioned some of it, but what is some advice you would give young students looking into this profession? Is it really to try to kind of get your hands on all facets of marketing and see, but what's some things that you think, they could be maybe taking in school as far as classes, or is there anything that they can be doing? Is it volunteering? Is it job shadowing? Do you see success in that? What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I think a big part of why I'm working in sports is because when I was in college, I for a little bit worked for the University of Iowa athletic department, and it was more on the sales side. The foundation side is where I worked, but I came into I was working a wrestling event, and just seeing the passion that people have really energized me. Like, the fans were super passionate, and I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I want to do. I love being around that passion. I love creating memories for people. So I think, the advice I would give is find what you're passionate about. In order to do that, it might be tough, but try as many things as you can. Go shadow different organizations, shadow different positions. As like, I think the more you try out and the more you see kind of that actual industry knowledge and go out and try things, the more you're going to know what you love to do yourself and what really drives you. And that's just so important. It's important. I think there's too many people who don't love what they do. And it's very important for your well-being and your happiness, and also just your success in professional life. So I think I would just say try as much as you can. And if you find something that you love, go down that road and learn more about it, shadow, get internships, go all in. But until you find that, just try as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what you're saying is take advantage of opportunities, right? Because you won't ever know until you try. So yes, thank you.